are ice cold. Holy mollies.
Hey everyone, so we want to introduce ourselves. If you don't know us, or maybe you do, but I'm Dwayne and Amanda Sparks. We started going out back when I was 19, she was 18, and we have been together ever since. It's now 19 years, married 15 years.
We have our two kids, Caleb and Kylie, and the whole reason for making this video and coming to our friends and family and hopefully new friends through this is we have a project we've been working on, and we want to take the opportunity to introduce it to you all.
So that ministry is Juniper Farm Ministries. It's something that's near and dear to our hearts. It's something through, obviously, through most ministries, experience is stewed from that ministry. So we just want to help other people, guide people. We feel led by God to be able to create this. He's given me visions to be able to start this up, and just want to have people be vulnerable or listen to God about being moldable and just seek His wisdom through things. So we've created Juniper Farm Ministries.
So Juniper Farm is what we named our land that we live on in 2017, right? Yeah. We moved about an hour outside of Fort Worth. We wanted to get out of the suburbs and kind of into the country, and so we bought some property with Dwayne's parents, and we've got lots of oak trees out here, but we're covered in cedar trees, which are technically juniper trees. So I also love animals and wanted to start collecting critters, and so we named our land Juniper Farm. And so it just felt fitting that this ministry that we had a vision for would be called Juniper Farm Ministries. And our mission statement for the ministry is equipping men and women with the knowledge and skills they need to have healthy relationships from a biblical perspective. And the focus of this ministry will be to have access to Christian counseling services, and to also kind of squash the taboo of going to counseling. We, again, like Dwayne was saying, we've had quite the experience the last few months, and we'll share more about that, and that's kind of where this drive came from. I have a little bit of experience with a nonprofit ministry. I sit on a board of a ministry that serves single moms and their children, and so I do have a bit of an understanding that ministry work is, it can be hard. Anything that we do for God is usually going to come with some sort of challenges, obviously, because the enemy is out there to steal, kill, and destroy. And so we know that ministry work can be really tough, and this all still feels a little crazy, but we know that if it feels crazy and it doesn't make sense, that it probably is God-led, and we just want to be obedient to God, and we want to listen to Him, and we want to use our story and what we went through to help other people. I do want to say that, like, at the core of our being, we do believe that God is the ultimate healer when it comes to physical or emotional pain, trauma. So we don't discount God's ability to work with someone one-on-one to heal them, but we also realize that God gives people skills and talents, and He has really used these counselors that we've had access to change our lives. And so we want to know that people can use counselors and counseling services as a tool that God has provided to help them overcome issues and problems that life brings. We know that this side of heaven, there is issues, there's pain, there's problems, there's trauma, there's grief, and God has equipped people to help us, to help each other through these. And so that's really the heart behind it, is knowing that this is a skill. These are skilled people. They have something to offer, and we want more people to have access to that. Last year, like Dwayne said, we've been together for 19 years. We have been married 15 years as of June 6th. And just a few months ago, we really did not even know if we would be an intact family for our 15-year wedding anniversary. Last year, I started realizing that something was really going on in our marriage, that something wasn't right. And by December, I started writing in a journal that something was just off, and I even wrote down in my journal that I feared that we were maybe headed to divorce. Our relationship just hadn't been the same, and things just felt really off and really wrong. And I took it to God, and I haven't always taken my problems to God. In my younger years, I took them to pretty much everything but God, but I have thankfully gained a strong relationship with God over the years, and I knew that whatever this feeling was, that I needed to rely on Him. So I started writing in my journal. I read a devotional that night. God just started speaking into me that He was going to take care of me, take care of us. Fast forward about a month in January, Dwayne and I finally have like our first real conversation to talk about the tension that had been in the air. So for a couple months by this point, I realized just something is not right. And we finally have a talk, and he starts telling me, he's not sure if he loves me anymore. He's not happy. He's, his attitude had changed towards me, towards our kids. He'd been really short, really snappy. There had just been so many things. And so in this conversation, he brought up too, like maybe divorce, maybe the time that we served together was over. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. None of it made sense to me. I was shocked and I was hurt, and I knew in my heart that there was just something really serious and deep going on behind it, and Dwayne just wasn't ready to give me all the details yet. But the next day I was just driving around for work, and I'm talking to God, and I'm praying, and I'm crying, like, what is going on? And God gave me the word resurrect that day, and I thought it was kind of odd. Resurrect just popped into my mind, and God reassured me that He would bring what felt like a dead thing back to life. And so I really clung on to that word. I was like, okay, resurrect, like this feels dead, this feels like a death, but God is going to bring whatever this is back to life. God also brought me the Bible verse, Ephesians 6:12, that talks about that we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces of evil. That verse kept popping up to me, and that was just a reminder too from God that this was not just like a me versus Dwayne battle, that this was happening on a spiritual level, and that there was something going on that wasn't, like I said, it wasn't just me versus him, that there was something deeper going on. But I just, I guess, clung to hope and prayer. I would lay my hands on him at night when he was asleep, and I would pray over him, and that God would soften his heart, that He would restore his zeal for God, for me, for our kids, for our family. I just knew that Dwayne was really wrestling with something, and it didn't make sense. And so we went on a family trip together to Disney, and that was kind of rocky. I was scared that Dwayne might leave me after we got back from our trip, that maybe he was just sticking it out because we had that trip planned for months. But there were some big things that took place, like behind the scenes. We tried to have fun with our kids and still make family memories, but on the inside, both of us were really struggling. And so we get home from our trip on Valentine's Day, and I decide to come to Dwayne that night for a talk, and I just wanted to know, really know the truth, what was going on, that things had not been right for months, and I knew it wasn't just all in my head. I wasn't crazy, that something was really happening, and we finally had a big discussion that night.
Yeah. That whole time, I was really being spiritually tortured. My flesh and spirit were fighting against each other. I could feel it inside that it was very difficult for me. I was mentally unstable, spiritually unstable. I would break down randomly to her and just start bawling, crying. Sick for a long time, just multiple things where literally my spirit and flesh were fighting against me. Like she said, we talked a couple of times, really deep conversations that were not a lot of fun to have. And finally, on Valentine's Day, we flew home from Disney, got home, unpacked everything, got the kids in bed, and she asked me what was going on. And after a couple of times, I finally confessed, and that I was not faithful in our marriage. And it had been going on for a little while, and told her everything, opened up everything. At that point in time, it obviously crushed her, broke her, crushed me. We were pummeled down to dust that night. We stayed up until, I don't remember, it was halfway through that, 3 or 4 a.m. By the time we actually went back to sleep, or went to sleep. We talked it over. We decided that night that we weren't going to end, that we were committed to each other, that we were going to see this through, see what we made our commitment. We were going to push through it with God, and I was going to get help. So the next day, woke up and immediately started making phone calls and told her that I was going to get counseling. I was going to start right away, so I already had somebody that I was going to be reaching out to. I just hadn't yet, and I was finally able to get onto a schedule and start going every single week. And then we ended up finding Amanda a counselor to be able to go through, and then my counselor also helps us out in our marriage. That has immensely changed our lives.
It really has. I was gonna say, kind of the drive to go to counseling really was that we decided that our commitment was gonna be strong, that we did want to stay together. And the biggest turn was that we were not just gonna sweep this under the rug and just say, okay, I forgive you, let's just act like this never happened and move on. We've been together for, like we said, 19 years, and you can't go through a 19-year relationship without having some problems along the way. So, of course, we'd had different issues along the way, but before, that's how we handled every problem that ever came, is we just, all right, we're gonna sweep this one under the rug, just forget about it, forgive each other, we'll just keep trucking. And there was years really of pent up things going on behind the scenes of our relationship, things that I caused hurt to Dwayne before we even got married. I had a lot of my own personal issues. He had personal issues that we both drug into our marriage, and we just been trying to like build this thing really on kind of a rocky foundation from the very beginning, because we had a lot of, both of us, a lot of pain and a lot of hurt that we had never healed from. So I wanted to back up a little bit to bring that part up, because we both had a lot of pain, a lot of issues, and it was just this kind of culminating thing over the years. So for this time, like we said, we felt like we were absolutely broken. I had actually read that in, I follow Lisa Turkerist a lot, and she had a blog she wrote about being reduced to dust, and that's really what it felt like. Like there wasn't even pieces to put together, and this was broken beyond broken. And we decided, okay, this time we've got to handle this problem different than we've handled all the problems before. And that is where that commitment to counseling really came in. Dwayne had already been talking to a friend who sees a counselor for a while, and that's how Dwayne already knew somebody to go to. And then, like you said, I found my counselor, and so I see her every other week. And then Dwayne and I do see his counselor for marriage counseling together the weeks in between. And so it has been a huge time and financial commitment for sure. But we have really realized, you know, as a society, people pay for their kids to have private coaching or private lessons, or we pay for gym memberships or fancy dinners out or whatever it may be. But people are often reluctant to invest in the most important relationship that they have, which is their marriage. If you are a married person, besides our relationship with God, the next most important relationship we have is within our marriage. And that is the one area that people don't always put the right investment into, whether it's just time, spending time with each other, or things like this, counseling. We have talked to some really great people who were way ahead of the game for us, and they don't have problems. They're not healing from an affair. They're, you know, generally pretty good, but they still go and see a counselor, whether it's just once a month, just to stay on the same page, to have somebody who's like a mediator almost, because there's so many facets to marriages and relationships. It's communication, it's emotional safety and security, sexual purity within a marriage, which doesn't, that can be a lot of different things. That doesn't mean even stepping outside of your marriage, but pornography or lust issues. There's a lot of things that people struggle with eternally. Like you're two completely different people coming together to live in the same space. You know, I remember when Dwayne and I first met, he was like judging me on how I made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like, you know, you have two people that come together from very different backgrounds and then just expect it to be like rainbows and butterflies, and it's harder than that. And so through this ministry, we want to share what we're learning, what we have learned. Like we're still learning, we're still healing. We want people to realize how beneficial counseling can be for an array of issues that they're dealing with, and realize that people can really heal. Like not just, I forgive, I'm moving on, I'm just going to forget about it, but to have just true like peace and healing and calm in their hearts and their souls, and what that does for their for your own personal self, but for your relationship, what that's going to do for us as parents, for our kids. We truly believe that we are breaking generational curses, that we are going to break things in the spirit realm, so life will be even a little bit different from our kids, or at least they'll know from a young age, starting out, hey, if I have an issue or something I'm just not handling very well, or whatever it is, like I can go to counseling, I can talk to a counselor. And we want them to know that those things are available from a really young age. And that's kind of our mission now, is to share that with our friends, with our family, with new people that we'll meet along the way, that these counseling services can truly be life-changing for people. Our counselor told us recently, it really, really stuck with me. he said that he just gave us the perspective that Dwayne and I have the ability to help heal parts of each other that are hurt, that maybe these hurts came from places before we even met each other. And so he just he's helped us just look at things from a different perspective, and we are finally feeling whole and healed. And I can see a difference. Like in Dwayne, it's been amazing. He has truly been a changed man, like a different person. And I'm just so thankful for it. One thing that I've said is I know that we had this really traumatic, shocking thing happen to us, but we are not going to let it define us as individuals or define our marriage. And we know that moving forward, we have every possibility of having an even better, next 15 years of our marriage than the first 15. And a lot of that is attributed to, obviously, God, number one, but these services that he has placed in our life that we've taken advantage of and that we've really seen life change. And so we are clearly passionate about it. Excuse me. And, that's why we want to share this with everyone. We want more people to have access to the same type of help that we had access to.
Like she said, it's been amazing to see the difference in what God has been able to work through me, the change that I've been able to receive. And again, I was open-minded. I knew I wanted to be changed. I did not want to be that same person. I did not want to live that life. I wanted to live my life for Christ and be a better person, a disciple for Christ, and where people, whenever they look at me, they don't see that old me. They see Christ through me. And so I knew I needed to change. So through that counseling and sessions and reading our Bible, we've been reading our Bible chronologically, doing Bible studies every day, and just working through that together, growing spiritually stronger together in our relationships, but also as individuals too. So it wasn't just counseling, it was definitely running after God. But we also know how powerful God is working through us, through reading his word, but also we feel like God's speaking to us through the counselors. Our counselors are seeking God to be able to give us healing. They have biblical knowledge, so it's just not some general counselor. I mean, these are definitely people that are seeking after God as well. So being able to receive that and listen to it is something that you have to make a choice, and you have to make a choice to be able to change and be better for your wife, your children, for generations to come, for strangers, whoever it is, but for God and for yourself. You need to just choose to be a better. So we understand that. We want to be able to help other people, have God work through us, through this ministry. Juniper Farm Ministries is just that. There's going to be a numerous of things. We have a website that's we are starting. I've already bought the domain name. I already paid for the website. We're just getting it built and getting the information on there to where people can access it and get onto there. For Amanda's obviously really good at creating blogs and newsletters, so we're going to keep people up to date on where we're at in the ministry. We're going to create different retreats. I have a retreat upcoming, and this one's going to be for men this first time. So we're going to just have men have the opportunity to be able to see the change that they are capable of making through counseling, through pastoral care. Both of those we feel really, really passionate about. And we're going to be able to have those retreats, have them for men, eventually for women, for couples. We're going to see where God leads us. Yeah. We don't know how many we're going to have a year. That's something that God hasn't quite spoken to us about, but I was having these visions about man, I can't just keep this to myself. We gotta be able to share this with other people. We have to be able to let people know that going to counseling isn't so taboo to where, if I didn't do X, then I don't need to do that, or I didn't do Y, or, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm not this or that. Man, we're all sinners. We all fall short. So there's always something, if it's childhood, if it's exes, if it's depression, anxiety, work, children, wives, just guidance. Seeking that guidance is something that I think that we all should be able to do. This isn't going to be just something to where we just repair right now and then stop. Mm-hmm. It's going to be forever going, that we'll make that commitment to continue to go to counselors, but we also want that opportunity for other couples. So part of the other ministry, or part of the other side of things inside of the ministry, will also be able to, our goal is to be able to create sponsorships for men, women, couples, whatever, to be able to go to counseling, be able to seek help, get help. But there's going to be, they're going to have to put in the work. And it's not just, I'll go and listen and then expect change. There is definitely work. God will want you to work through it. Your wife or husband will want to work through it. Your kids. It helps through everything. So we really want to be able to have other people experience what we have through that. And so that's what really stemmed up Juniper Farm Ministries.
Mm-hmm. So these retreats, these little retreats would be kind of like an intensive. So we'd have, like I said, Bible study time, time to go hiking for the people to spend just time together, and then group counseling sessions. And these will be working with, certified, licensed Christian counselors, and to just get a feel of what that is like. And we will have it set up where we'll have, scheduled Bible studies, scheduled counseling sessions over like a 2.5 day time period. And the hope is that will, stem something in these people that are able to go to where they can see the value and will continue counseling on their own after the retreats. And then, like Dwayne said, our goal is to, for those who can't afford counseling services, that eventually this ministry will help people access it, financially. And same with the retreats. If certain people can't afford to go on the retreats, that there will be funds available for that. So that's kind of our hope and our vision for it. Where it'll eventually go is just really facilitate the experience of giving access to counselors, and then to help those who can't afford it be able to access it, be able to experience that, because it has been so powerful and life-changing for us. So that is really the vision. Like Dwayne said, we do have the first one kind of in the works already. We have a date in mind. We're trying to figure out all the logistics. So we hope to be able to release more about that soon. And like I said as well, we've got our website in the works. We have a Facebook page in the works. And we hope to be able to have all of that ready soon to share with all of you, so you can follow along. We ask more than anything, really, for our friends, our family, for those of you out there, just to be in prayer. We still need lots of prayer. Like I said, we are still healing and working on ourselves as well as we're going through this. So we will need prayer and support in that avenue, and just prayer for this ministry and what it's going to look like and what it's going to turn into. There's still a lot of unknowns, obviously, but we know that God is behind this, and through Him we can do all things. So we're putting faith that this is going to be something great, and that through our pain, through our experience, that we can show people there is light on the other side, and there is healing, and there is happiness, and there is joy, and there is hope.
Amen.
Amen.
So we thank y'all. Thank you for watching the video. I know it was a little bit long, but we definitely appreciate it. We just wanted to share our story, like we said. And just keep us in your prayers. We'll be praying for you guys. We thank you for the love and the support, and we'll see you guys soon.